Hello, everybody. Welcome back, and congratulations, you have made it to our fifth installment in the Writing Task 1 for IELTS series. All right. Today we are taking all of this information that we've gathered from our previous lessons, and we are going to put it all together, and we're going to write a full task 1. Okay. So let's start by looking at what this task 1 is, okay? This task 1 writing says, the line graph below shows the percentage of sales made online over a 2-year period from January 2023 to December 2024. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. This part here is the same in every writing task 1. This is very important because this is what you always need to do in a writing task 1. You need to summarize the information. You need to make sure that you select and report the main features, so the most important features. You need to make comparisons where relevant. In this case today, we're not focusing too much on this last part, even though it really is a very important part of this. But I'm more focused on how you do the sort of grammar and vocabulary side of this today. If you wanted to take this one step further and really make comparisons here, you could separate this chart down the middle and you could compare 2023 to 2024. How does January compare, for example, between the 2 years? How does June compare between the 2 years? Or how does December look like? All right. So we can definitely compare still, but today we're not going to focus on the comparison side. All right. So we've looked at this task 1. We see what we're working with. So the first thing we need to do is think about our structure. Okay. The structure we're going to use in this case is going to be paragraph 1 with an introductory sentence and an overview. The first sentence describes what kind of information is in the chart in your own words. That's very important that you write it in your own words. The overview points out how the data changed from beginning to end. Was there an overall rising trend or falling trend? Or maybe there's some other very important key information that you want to mention in the overview so that the reader can learn what you have analyzed from the chart. Then paragraph 2 is the details, okay? In paragraph 2, we're not going to be creative at all, okay? Our only creativity is our word choice, making sure that we use a variety of verbs, a variety of nouns. But otherwise, we are reporting exactly what we see from year to year or from month to month, from day to day. So describing these changes in detail. So let's start with this introductory sentence. If we have this line graph here, we need to write an introductory sentence. How do we do that? Well, we might write something like this. The line graph illustrates the percentage of sales made online over a 2-year period. But what is the problem with this? There's a big problem here. Oh, that's exactly the same as what it says at the top. It's exactly the same. We don't want to use the same words. We don't want to copy exactly the same. You can use the same words, but you need to change how those words fit in the sentence. You don't always need to find completely crazy out there synonyms for these things. You just need to show that you're able to write what you see in different words than what is in the chart, okay? So you might write instead something like this. The line graph illustrates the percentage of total online sales each month over 2 years. And all of this information, it looks like a simple sentence, but this simple sentence tells me exactly what I need to know about this chart. I see sales made online, and here we wrote online sales instead, so we paraphrased it. I see the time period. It's over 2 years. So instead of writing 2-year period, we wrote over 2 years. I see that it's in percentages. So I make sure that I write it's the percentage of total online sales. And finally, I see that it's monthly. This is showing me month to month. So I want to make sure that I write each month in there. All right. Notice how there's now no information from this chart that's missing except for the details. Okay. We've mentioned what's on the y-axis. We've mentioned what's on the x-axis, what's on the y-axis, and the key kind of info that's being tracked here, which is sales made online. All right, so we have an introductory sentence, so let's put it in there. All right, we have our first sentence, our introduction. Now let's move on to our overview. Okay, so look at the chart again. This is the same exact task, same exact chart. What general comment can we make about what we see here? So there's some things I see. I see definitely that if we draw a line from beginning to end, I see that there is a rising trend overall. I also see that there was some difficulty in starting these sales at the beginning, and I see that there's some difficulty more recently in sales here, and I see that there was a lot of fluctuation happening in the mid stage. So we have rising, we have a deep fall, we have some rising again. So we might write something like this. The graph shows the percentage of online sales over 24 months with some rises and falls. Okay. I have a problem here, though. This is not being very specific. It's not really showing me that you were able to analyze. And also, I think this describes almost any graph. The graph shows the percentage of online sales over 24 months with some rises and fall. I think we could find some rise and fall anywhere. So we want to be a little more nuanced here. We want to mention some detail. So here's an example. Overall, online sales rose markedly during the first half of the period, peaking in April 2024, before experiencing a sharp decline and subsequently recovering moderately by December 2024, okay? We see that it recovered, and we can say the word recovered because sales are overall higher. Another example could be in general. Instead of saying overall, which everyone uses, you could say in general, the percentage of online sales grew during the first year, okay? Then peaked in the spring of 2024, then fell dramatically in early summer, with a gradual uptick again towards the end of 2024. That sounds like an excellent overview. It's pointing out the main features, which is really the most important part of the overview, is that you're focusing on the main features, not the details. So now we have our first paragraph. Our first paragraph shows the introductory sentence and the overview. So now we want to move on to the details, okay? And if we look here, you see all the details that you can point out. All of these little changes, those are the details. This is at least, maybe 10 or 12 sentences here that we can write just using the arrow as a guide for a verb to show up, down, up and down, or staying the same. So this is what you might write. Okay. This part might look different from one person to another. I won't read the whole thing. I suggest that you pause and read it. If you're able to write something like this, then you'd probably have a pretty high score on your IELTS test. You can write a more simple version of this, and you'd still get a pretty decent score as long as you use a variety of verbs or nouns, use a variety of grammar tenses, and make sure that you don't leave out any important details. If you have a lot of grammar mistakes, you might suffer some loss of points from that. So you want to make sure that you avoid grammar mistakes or spelling errors. And you also definitely want to make sure that you don't repeat the same ideas again and again. All right. So now that we have accomplished this great feat of writing a task 1, I have 10 questions for you to answer. Please pause the video if you can. Pause the video. Try to answer all 10 of them. Can you do it? Can you write it on paper? I'll give you a few seconds and then I'll show you the answers. All right, time's up. Here are your answers. Notice that in number 10, you have 2 options. You could write it many other ways as well, but these are 2 good examples. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for following this 5-part series on the writing task 1. There are still some gaps, some things that I didn't mention, some things that need to be mentioned, and I will mention them in the future. If you would like, please leave your own version of this writing task 1 in the comments below, or if there's anything that you'd like me to cover with more detail in another video, please let me know. I'll make sure to do that. Thank you so much. Please, if you haven't, subscribe, click on the like button, the notification bell, show some appreciation, please, for all the work that I put into this 5-part series. All right. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.